Listen. We've got to talk about Kvaratskhelia, though. We've got to talk about Kvaratskhelia. This guy is a demon. He is a demon. We must banish this guy, I promise you, because what he's on, what he's doing, especially in the Champions League. In fact, no, exclusively in the Champions League, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. He is one of the best wingers in football right now. Forget his stats, forget his numbers and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure in the league he's not doing, the numbers ain't popping like that. Do you get what I mean? They're not great, they're not magnificent. We're not going to sit here and pretend like he's got 30 GA in the league, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think he even got that last season, potentially in the league, in itself. And he played for two teams, Napoli and PSG. Again, no. It's nothing about that, man. It's what he's doing in the Champions League. But when you watch a player like Kvaratskhelia, and again, I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to sign this guy. It wasn't just PSG fans. I'm pretty sure Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, anybody, all the top teams would want a player like this. We're talking about a guy who, again, don't know him, never ever seen Kvaratskhelia in the flesh, but he doesn't look like a strong individual, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like even when I watch him, I think, oh yeah, you know what, he's sturdy. Do you get what I'm saying? Like he's someone who, yeah, bro. But when he runs with the ball, yo, it's different. It's absolutely different. It's the speed in which he moves with the ball. It's the body feints. It's the dribbling ability, the ability to be able to just get past your opponent, and you're not doing flashy tricks. I think that's what's so impressive about him. It's not about, and listen, look, flashy tricks are obviously amazing. If you can do that and you can pull it off, like a Robinho, like a Neymar, then yeah, great. But not everybody can kind of do that. So when you're looking at a player like Kvaratskhelia, it's about the dribbling ability. It's about the technique. It's the small touches before he gets past an opponent. It's the way he positions his body, when he's going past an opponent, or when he gets the ball, or when the ball comes to his feet from his teammate. What's his next action? He already knows what he's going to do. He's seen the space. He's seen where he can affect the game. And that's something that, listen, you only the people at the top, the top players, of yesteryear, and even the top players of today, that's the kind of thing that they have. The Harry Kanes, the Haalands, the Mbappes, the Lamine Yamals, people of that kind of ilk, they have something in their brain that kind of lets them know this is where I can be super effective. All I now need to do is almost just trust in my own ability. And once I've got that level of confidence, nobody's stopping me. You can see when Kvaratskhelia is dribbling with the ball, you guys can see players are bouncing off of him. And I'm talking, what I mean? Strong. There are some strong players out there. Do you know what I mean? Like some of these players are pretty strong, and they're just bouncing off of him. And again, like I said, listen, I'm not saying that your strength is, it's tied into would I say your size, so to speak, because I know a lot of big guys out there who are pretty weak, and I know a lot of small guys who are pretty strong. But ultimately, you look at some of these players and you think, nah, they should be able to kind of handle him. They should be able to get him off the ball at least, or at least knock him off his stride. But he's knocking them out of the way. Whether it's just arm movement, when he is dribbling with the ball, whether it's just, again, where he positions the ball, even when it's like everything is all calculated. Even when he's dribbling with the ball, you guys can watch it. You can see the ball is positioned in a way where, yes, a defender can obviously get to it if they tried, I'm not saying they don't try, but they could potentially get to it. But if you do, you could potentially risk a foul, you could bring him down. That could then result in a penalty. Or it's just a case of, I don't want to dive in just yet, because if I dive in, I'm out of the game. And obviously, if you're out of the game, we know what Kvaratskhelia is on. We know what PSG are on. So that could be problematic later on. But when I'm looking at it, I'm just like, he just complements that front three so well. And I think that's like the biggest testament, or the biggest thing I can kind of give to him, or compliment, should I say, I can kind of give to him, is just the fact that you complement the front three, four, if you want to call it, Barcola, Dembele, Doué, you complement them so well, because you've got the ability. Again, I'm trying to think, I wouldn't call him quick. He's quick over like, I guess, a short distance, maybe, kind of thing. But then again, I've seen him kind of burst past. He's weird, man. Like I said, he's a demon. He's a demon. We have to just, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I don't know about Kvaratskhelia. Like, I really don't know how to even like really judge him. I don't know, you know, you to me just seem like you are the perfect winger. You are what we would want to see in a winger. Lamine Yamal, by the way, in my opinion, is better. But when I look at Lamine Yamal, it's almost like you've got this like unique ability, kind of thing. You've got like this unique talent where I don't feel like anybody can almost train someone to almost be like you. Whereas when I watch a Kvaratskhelia, and if anybody out there who's a winger, I'm just like, just look at the way he dribbles the ball. Look at the way he touches the ball. Look at the touches he does take when he is dribbling the ball. Look at the way he looks up before he's about to dribble or when he can see the space. Look what he does when he's in those kind of positions. Is he going to stand up his man? When he does that, how does he move the ball? Does he shift it onto his left foot? Does he shift it onto his right foot? He can take shots with both feet as well, by the way. This isn't a one-footed player. He can take shots with both feet, which does make him that kind of two-way player, where it's difficult to really understand as to, well, is he going to shift it onto his left? Is he going to shift it onto his right? A bit like Dembele, where it's so difficult to take them down the line because they can just cross the ball or shoot with their left foot or, vice versa on their right foot. So obviously that can massively help him. But I just think it's the way that he glides through the pitch. It's just done in such a way where you just sit there and think to yourself, you can only applaud. You can literally only applaud what he's doing and how he's doing it. And the fact that he's been able to, can I say, take his game to the next level? I almost feel like he's still at the level. I say level. I almost feel like he's doing everything that he was always doing at Napoli, for example. The difference is that I guess when that is then helping your team, and this goes for quite a lot of players, right? When you've been doing what you've been doing, but now you're winning bigger honors, now you're, would I say, seen by more individuals. I guess it's always like, oh, you've taken your game to the next level. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that he hasn't. He plays for Luis Enrique. One thing I probably will say is that he's always had to run, run, run. I think that's something that he also mentioned after the game against Bayern Munich, that, if you play for Luis Enrique, you have to run. You have to run. Like he's not lazy. None of that front four are lazy. That's actually a big credit to them. Technically, they're all massively gifted. They're beautiful footballers to actually just watch, on the, in terms of the aesthetics and everything like that. But they also work hard. They're not just here for the pretty stuff. No, they will work hard. They will track back. They will defend. They will sit in that block because they understand this is what the coach needs from us. This is what the coach requires from us. And this is what the team needs in order for us to get the best result. That is something that I can, again, only applaud for PSG in a general sense, in terms of just them as a team. But when you're looking at it, just, Kvaratskhelia himself, and the reason why I said, I've got to talk about it because, I'm not saying nobody's talking about it because I think everybody's talking about a Kvaratskhelia. I think everybody knows that this is a very talented individual. But I just feel that, I don't know, like, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Elise recently, who I think is an absolutely magnificent player. Obviously, we talk about, a Lamine Yamal, and people have spoken about Saka as well. Obviously, him getting the goal against Atletico Madrid, to win the tie for Arsenal. And I just think sometimes I sit there and I think to myself, is not is it, because I know the answer, but stats are ruining the game so much that I feel like it's clouding our judgment when we then talk about players and we talk about actual good players.
They said stats are like bikinis. What they show you is interesting, but what they don't show you is equally as interesting.
That's very profound. That's very profound.
For me, I always say stats are something that you only use as more of a confirmation to whatever it is that you're trying to confirm, right? I think he's a brilliant tackler of the ball. All right, let's go check out the stats then. Does he make that many tackles in games? How many does he complete? All these kind of various different things. What's his duels like? Does he intercept the ball quite a bit? Whatever. That's for whoever you're talking about. So if you're obviously talking about an attacker or a forward or a winger, if you want to call it that, dribbles. How many dribbles does he make per game? How many of those are actually successful? How many passes does he make? How many of those are successful? Crosses, etc., etc. Then those stats can obviously back those up. And then, of course, goals and assists can then back up whatever it is that you believe about said player, right? So that's the way I feel like stats should be used. But I just feel like it's always used as a stick to beat someone with. I spoke about Jeremy Doku before, and it's the same thing with him. Whereas we all know, and for those who actually watch him, he's probably one of the most dangerous wingers in world football. Easily a top five, the most like top five dangerous wingers has to be Jeremy Doku. And Kvaratskhelia is in that list as well because he is so dangerous. So when people spoke about, his stats and, oh, he only turns up in the Champions League. Okay, I'm sorry. He only turns up in the biggest club competition. Okay, fair. Fair enough. Do you get what I'm saying? You got guys who are turning up in shitty games in the league and that against Burnley and those type of teams. And you're complaining about a guy who turns up in semi-finals, quarterfinals, finals. That's where your complaint is coming from. This is why you just can't win with the stats. And Kvaratskhelia, again, he's got decent numbers. I guess they're just not great. You know, they're not numbers that anybody's like, oh my god, like this. No. He's for me, he's a player that I don't. If he had those same numbers in my own team, I'll be very, very happy because I don't watch him and think, yeah, but your performances absolutely stink. I don't feel like that at all. I really don't. I actually feel like it's just a case of you've got a Ballon d'Or winner in the team. You've got another excellent player in Doué, and you've got another bench player in Barcola. You got Kang in as well. You got other players there. Do you get what I'm saying? PSG are not they're not light when it comes to players, and they're not light when it comes to actual talent. Whereas other teams don't have the depth of talent that a PSG has, because obviously it's usually just like their front three. So everything is kind of on them to be able to perform. Whereas at PSG, it's like a collective. We all perform. We all eat. We can all eat here today, and that's how I feel. You know, he can just complement that front line and the team really, really well. But listen, big up to Kvaratskhelia. Like I said, he's one of the best wingers. I don't care where you want to rank him. I don't care how you rank him. You can rank him wherever you want. But for me, he's easily one of the best wingers, if not top left winger anyway, if I'm going to be specific, you know, in football. And I just think that he's definitely a player that I feel should get more flowers. I feel like don't just reduce it just to the Champions League. I get it because he's performing there and we're seeing it on the highest stage and stuff like that. But he's just a good player anyway. Even if he didn't have the numbers that he kind of has now, he's still a banging player, man. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But let me know, guys, in the comment section. What do you guys think? You know, in regards to Kvaratskhelia, how highly do you rate him? Do you think your club should be signing a player like Kvaratskhelia? Is there another Kvaratskhelia out there? I don't know, you know. Maybe I'll start doing a bit more scout reports and checking out. Is there another player who's equally, in terms of their ability, potentially as good as a Kvaratskhelia? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, comment section. I'll catch you guys soon, man. Peace.